standing here in front of the National Monument with this figure there in the background. Men in persons in chains and a sort of crucified figure there. Now, how do we get from the birth of the two Jesus children in Matthäus and Lucas to the crucifixion? We have actually in that interval two births, namely the birth of the two Jesus children and the birth, not the conception of Christ, but the birth of Christ as Spirit of the earth and Spirit of humanity. Now, just to tell that in very, very broad terms, and you must read this in the Fifth Gospel or the books on my blog, two children were born, one of them in year 2 BC, around Christmas, the other one 7 BC, with a difference in time of about 5¼ years. These two children grew up in the same environment, and then, as I mentioned already before, in the temple, in the presentation in Jerusalem, they wholly unified into the Jesus of Nazareth, who then at the baptism of Jordan served as the vessel for the incarnation of the Son Spirit, the Christ, who was the Son of God, the Logos, and the leading solar spirit, the leading spirit of the Elohim. Then you had, after the baptism, what Steiner calls the period of the embryo, the period in which a being solidifies his body between the conception and the birth. This is what happened during the actual ministry of Christ on earth, and that only at the crucifixion on the 3rd of April 33 and his resurrection actually occurred his birth. And that, in very broad terms, is the period between the birth of the two Jesus children as Jesus and the birth of Christ in Jesus as the Spirit of the earth. Now, the last and perhaps most important episode in the Fifth Gospel is, of course, the Second Coming. Now, the Second Coming is related to that birth of Christ as the Spirit of the earth, because Christ never left the earth. He said, "I'll be with you till the ends of days." And in the Ascension, the disciples didn't see him disappear. Nay, they lost their spiritual vision. And Christ, in the Second Coming, on the clouds, doesn't mean he's getting out of an airplane in the clouds, but he is to be found as the Spirit of the earth, in the etheric realm of the earth, in the living circumference of the earth, as the Spirit of the earth and humanity. That is the Second Coming. That is people raising their level of consciousness and vision up to behold him in that sphere. It's not a repeat of the mystery of Golgotha in a physical form. No, Christ is to be beheld in the etheric, in the living sphere. And that is the most modern comment in the Fifth Gospel that Rudolf Steiner gave for the present day.